730 Cat rock truck. Gonna do another demonstration. This here is a newer model. Right now I'm getting loaded by the shovel. We got a ton of fill here that's got to go, which means winter work. So basic controls here. We got this is your park brake, gear shifter, okay, and this controls your box. We have here, I'm just paying attention to the, no, we're good to go here, so I'll show you when I'm dumping here. So right now we're going to take this puppy for a spin. 6-speed transmission, it is automatic. Now one of these units, they articulate, so it's kind of different from driving a triaxle dump truck, for example. It's although it does work somewhat the same, it's not a road legal machine. It's only for off-road use. Usually one of these is good for about 35 miles an hour. A little rough through here. If anybody's ever driven one of these, they can be a real blast to drive, or they can really be a real pain in the rear end at the same time. It depends on where you're driving, right? Like I mentioned before. But once you get used to it, they're actually quite fun to drive. So right now I got a long straight stretch here. Right now it's going through all the gears. It's in the highest gear now. It's good for about 35. Even when empty, even when loaded, it'll do about 35 miles an hour. Good load on there right now. So basic functions, you know, we got a sunshade, you know, for the summertime when the sun is right in your eyes. Right now it's winter, so we really don't need something like that. It's always overcast around here, so I'm going to go ahead and take this through here. Open the gate. There we go. Basic controls, we got radio. Here's your lights. Okay, that's your parking lights and your headlights. Right here there's a little light just behind the cab. Kind of helps when you're greasing your unit. Okay, so over on this side we have air conditioning. Okay, like flip that on, that's for your compressor. This one here is auxiliary steering, just like the other one, and this is your differential, your front wheels. If you have this locked in and you push this pedal on this switch on the floor, it looks like a dimmer switch. They say it's full-time 6-wheel drive. Where all tires are live, so kind of really helps when you're real stuck in a jam. Okay, right here I'm going to back up and dump this load here without hitting nothing. Okay. Up she goes. And we're off to the races here once again, back for another load. like the engine screaming. It's really only doing about $2,000. It's governed. You can't blow the engine by any means in one of these. Really fun to drive. Can be a real pain too when you're trying to drive this thing through a swamp or through like real rough terrain. Like you'll feel every bump. It's nice smooth driving through here, but like I say, when you're driving on something like bee gravel or or something real rough, you're gonna feel it, and you're gonna want to not really drive one of these. So back to the gear shifter here. We have a couple functions here. We have a little yellow button that's located right on the shifter, and if we push this button, a light will come on the dash, and it has a picture of a gear with 2 lines there underneath it and up top. What this acts as what it'll do is it won't allow the transmission to shift into a higher gear. This actually works out good in your favor if you're driving over real rough terrain. When you're driving over rough terrain, if you can't drive that fast over it without breaking something, but you need to get there and it's kind of rough and you don't really want to be bouncing around, what you do is you push that button, leave it in the higher gear, and just floor it. And when you're driving over this rough terrain, it's not as rough. You're not going to be bouncing around inside the cab. Your head's not going to go through the windshield and all this jazz. You know what I mean? Opposed to having it in a high gear with your RPMs real low, then of course you're going to be feeling every bump.